revolutionaries, right, who always gonna get it popping, but nothing never pops, and from our own CBC and everybody. So I just wanted to go down the list and then talk about like some of this stuff, like how we gotta. There's no way to get any of this in order without ADOS. That's kind of where we are. But let's just go look at what we're looking at when I talk about the hodgepodge. Now let's take this all the way back. We got to go all the way to somebody is haunting Nicole Hannah-Jones right now, and it is this Tom Cotton senator. Says he called it fake news. Quotes how he was quoted on slavery when he said, and I believe the quote, that it was a necessary evil. So he's saying I didn't really say none of that. Now all of this is being said in the context of Donald Trump only deciding to wear a mask and apparently get serious about masks because it was his people who were getting sick as opposed to us, right? So when we get sick, it's okay, fine, you can keep everything open, I'm not going to wear a mask. And all of this is in the context, family, because context matters. Never forget that the context of a situation matters. This is the soil that we're talking about. That all these, this is what's happening, and Negroes is out here playing all kind of games. This is no time for games and fun and games and not being specific, but that's where we are. So this is the man who said slavery was a necessary evil, who's coming for the 1619 Project. Now, let's go to what Cotton said, because sometimes, and let's go to who he is. He's a U.S. Senator, Arkansas. But you got to go to something else, right? You have to understand something else. Don't always just look at your present, look to your future. Cotton, seen as a possible 2024 presidential candidate, made the comments in an interview with the Arkansas Democratic Gazette while attacking the New York Times 1619 Project effort to make slavery a focal point of American history in U.S. schools. Now, that's who Mr. Cotton is, and that's who we have to look forward to. Somebody who said slavery and kind of agreed and this and that. We have to look forward to this man being the next one. If y'all think, this is why, listen, let me slow it down for you. Anybody who tells you Trump is a symptom of an American problem, an exaggerated version of that. But understand, as we have this discussion, and this is why black politics has to get its stuff together, it doesn't end with Trump. I know people keep trying to tell you that all we got to do is we just got to get Trump out of there. You know, if we got Trump out of there, it'll be all right. We just got to get him out of there and we're going to get back to normal. As a matter of fact, Biden said that. Biden said some of these segregationists I could talk to and negotiate with. Well, kind of, because he was on the same side. But I can't do nothing with Trump. Understand that this man who is talking about slavery as a necessary evil is coming down the pike. Even though he says he was misquoted, I believe the Gazette, because they done said some stuff and put out some tweets where Cotton said, well, I wasn't really going at y'all. I was just saying the characterization of what I said was wrong. I wasn't really saying nothing about y'all. But my point is this. Do not get fixated and focus on Trump. Trump is not our reparations. He is an American problem. But coming down the pike for your 2024 is this man who says what he says. Now, let's get to something else really quick. Because here's something else. All this is very interesting. All this is very interesting to me. So he tried to call it fake news. Say he didn't say that. He didn't say what you didn't hear. They didn't hear what they thought they said. Of course, it was on Fox when he said it. That is fake news, Brian. That is not what I said, Cotton replied. What I said is that the founding fathers believed that only with the Union and the Constitution could we put slavery on the path to its ultimate extinction. That's exactly what Lincoln said. That don't even sound like anything close to what you said. Now, this is quite a predicament. This is quite a predicament. I'm telling you, it's a predicament. Not necessarily for us, but you think about it this moment, what could have been, don't you? So, you know, shout out to ADOS grievances. What could have been is this. You know, Nicole Hannah-Jones, now she's scrambling and fighting all the time and not having a bunch of defenders. But this is what could have happened. See, you have a shambles. The thing is, this whole thing is in shambles. They, Nicole Hannah-Jones, don't understand. ADOS 3 years of political education was preparing us to fight white supremacy in policy and propaganda. Our 18-month battle with these fringe tethers makes us battle ready. Why ignore such an asset and call black folks trash, but not them? See, You are in shambles. This is just the first part. We're going to get all the way through it. We're going to go all the way through this to Tariq and everything else. It is in shambles because people are being selfish and doing stupid things. So we have a situation that is totally and 100% in shambles. We have a black political apparatus that is totally and 100% in shambles. Nicole Hannah-Jones, I don't even see the blue check showing up for you in any kind of numbers. I don't see people rallying for you and saying leave this project alone, partly because there's a lot that goes along with this. But one of the things that you have to understand that goes along with this is this. You said, and if I can find this, let me see if I can find it. But yes, some things, see, there's a reason why, and this is, you set yourself up for these crazy right wingers, right? Because yes, history isn't always cemented. So there are different historical perspectives, if you will, on all sorts of things. There are all kinds of historical perspectives. But you got to be quiet. See, sometimes you have to be very disciplined when you're going up against white supremacy. That's why Antonio and I mostly deal with facts and data, and we go at people when it's necessary. But we don't always say everything. You don't always have to be online fighting, because if you talk too much, that increases the chances that you might say the wrong thing, Nicole Hannah-Jones. So when you said the 16 Project is a work of journalism that explicitly seeks to challenge the national narrative and not a work of history, you set it up for people to come in and say, well, if it's not a work of history, what is it doing in history class? See, it's sometimes you set yourself up for that. Don't set yourself up for the knockout. If you get knocked out, just get knocked out. Do not set yourself up for the knockout. Always keep your hands up. Don't set yourself up to get boxed out. That's not what you want to do. That does not work. You stand on your square and keep your hands up. You do not say that. You do not admit that. You just argue your point of view. I have used the work of historians and blah, 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 blah. You never admit defeat. You are grabbing defeat out of the jaws of victory. But see, if you had collaborated and taken your time with this project, or if you had just said, listen, this is not my project. It's not my project. I didn't think of the project, the Angela project. I will help coordinate the project for the New York Times, but I am not taking ownership of this project. I am going to bring in a lot of people who know more than me, not just quote them, but understand from them. But that would have taken you coming on board a while ago and stepping back and saying, I'm not going to let my ego get in charge of this. But because you didn't, everything is in shambles. Oh, it's a lot of shambles in black politics right now. Shambles to the left of me, shambles to the right. All kinds of problems and things that people didn't see coming. We saw it coming. We predicted everything. We saw it all coming. See, this, just like Tom Cotton's coming, everything's coming. And wouldn't his last name be Cotton? Anyway, let me just say, you got the CBC out here. That's the first part, shambles. So you in shambles, you can't even protect your project, and you ain't got nobody to help you do it. You had a natural asset and ally in us, and you didn't even do the work. You didn't even use that because of arrogance. Then you got, Lord have mercy, you got the CBC out here. It's all in shambles. Latinos aren't always included in our American story. Now more than ever, it's time to change that. We need a Latino museum in Washington, D.C. Now, mind you, I want you to understand something. Your whole group is in shambles. ADOS at the bottom cast. When you are bottom at the bottom cast, you ain't got nothing else that you can do but advocate for ADOS. At this point, I just believe the little person who I've heard about who runs that page is just in shambles their own self. You and your own version of shambles. Shambles, ladies and gentlemen. What kind of politics is this? Tried to do the 1619 project. She running around, running from all these people. Tom Cotton introduced a bill. Everybody chasing you around, and they chasing you around. You ain't got nobody to help you with nothing. You just running around by yourself. They just your butt just thrown to the wind. Don't nobody want their butt thrown to the wind like that. That's unnatural. You can't be out there like that. You gotta have. See, the thing is, because where we come from, slavery, Jim Crow, all of that, bottom caste, we're a minority. When we fight, we gotta fight like this. See, the fact that you didn't know we gotta fight like this says a lot about you and what you don't know about what we need to do. You thought you were just gonna run out there and pick up some stuff and these people's gonna leave you alone, especially since you did some stuff in a way that it probably shouldn't have been done without enough girding. If you're gonna say some of the stuff you said, it's gotta have a lot more back in the Cole Hannah Jones, gotta be a lot more time consuming. You gotta do a lot more work. Gotta be a lot more books read, a lot more historians and economists talked to. So now it's in what fam? Shambles. And then we got your project in shambles. We got the CBC out here, and they just advocate for everybody else. They just wild by the eye. They don't know what they doing. They just doing whatever comes to mind at any given moment. I don't think they have no rhyme or reason with what they be doing. Shambles. So what else is in shambles, Yvette? Well, let me just say this. Biden's ticket is in shambles. And our black politics is in shambles because of who we supported. Not me, not ADOS, who is on that ticket. Listen, they trying to put Kamala. They talking about putting Kamala on the ticket. But what they realizing is that Kamala's vicious. Now, we told y'all a long time ago, like, you don't know who this person is, they politics. This person went and went and dragged a black woman out of her house over some truancy law, not knowing that her child was sick and what she was going through, taking pictures of the black woman over a truancy law that she done put in place just so she could get attention. She could look like she tough on crime. How do you call Biden tough on crime? And you talk about you was that girl when it turns out that you wasn't that girl. But you said what you said, Kamala. You pulled that black woman out the house. Told the news media to be there. We got that black woman. I think she was in her pajamas when you pulled her out the house. Right, Kamala? Now the Biden campaign is just now realizing you had everybody with you too. Look, Angela Rye thought she was dressed for the White House. She thought she was gone. She had her fits ready. Everybody had their fits for the White House. Child, you'd be lucky to get the VP, to get in the VP office. Everybody was ready. Now it's all what, family? Shambles. Somebody said in the chat, what's up with Karen Bass? I don't think she gonna make it. She might. Prove me wrong, but I just don't think. I think they've been toying with a lot of these people. And I'm going to show you in a second. They've been giving them consolation gifts. Well, you know you're not gonna be the VP, but we got some stuff for you on the way out. You can pick up your little gift bag on the way out. Stacey Abrams, pick up your gift bag on the. You went all the way around TV campaigning for yourself, and we gonna give you some snoogadoogles on the way out. Don't ask me what they is. Don't ask me what they is. Y'all let Kamala come in here, and she got prisoners outside fighting fires for $1 or whatever they got paid, and now you wondered, oh my gosh. Well, I don't understand what's going on with Kamala. She said she had no remorse. And well, no remorse for what? Well, remember what she said about Biden? Y'all remember what she said about Biden when she attacked him as being, when she attacked him during the campaign? And he had to defend himself, and she was on the debate stage when they was on there together. Y'all remember that? And she said what she said. I was that little girl, and you busting, and da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, now the Biden people don't like it. And she was supposed to come on there listen, fam, just in terms of politics. You supposed to say, well, I didn't, that might have been a mistake or whatever. She said, child, I don't care. And I don't even know if she knows she said it. This child is vicious. She laughed and said, that's politics. She had no remorse. Dodd, that's who is, Senator Dodd. Dodd told a longtime Biden supporter and donor who relayed the exchange to Politico on the condition of anonymity. Now, Dodd is kind of leading the VP search, to give you some context for that. Dodd felt that it was a gimmick, that it was cheap, the donor said. The person added that Dodd's concern about Harris were so deep that he's helped elevate California Representative Karen Bass during the vetting process, urging Biden to pick her because she's a loyal number 2. And that's what Biden really wants. Through an aide, Dodd declined to comment. Advisors to Harris also declined to comment. They saying, look, she ain't loyal to nobody. You can't do it. We can't have her. She don't got no loyalty. That is what I mean. Listen, family. We said before. We told y'all, listen, it's not even like Obama. We don't know. She's an unknown quantity. And what we know about Kamala isn't good. We said for the most part, she's kind of an unknown quantity, right? In the sense that she's not here as Obama was. He was anchored in whiteness. And that's kind of how we understood him, or how we should have understood him. We should have understood him as being anchored in whiteness. But that's an American whiteness. We don't understand, from all intents and purposes, from everything I see, Kamala has no relationship with her father. And so she's anchored in her Indian mother, right? And we see how she treated or decided to use a black woman as a prop, and the firefighters and all of that, right? So this is an unknown quantity. When she becomes VP, which sets her up for a presidential run, you don't know what she does. She can become ultra conservative. What she's shown us is that we don't understand where her politics are anchored. You know, her mother was Brahmin. That's a top tier caste in terms of Indian. So we don't know if her politics are anchored in her mother, which would make them opposed to who we are. But what we know about her isn't good, right? That's why all of this is a mess. And we said it first. We said that Kamala isn't ADOS, but her policies, further than that, her policies are anti-ADOS, and she is vicious, and she's not anchored in who we are, and we don't have a thorough understanding of her, as even we did with Obama, right? We called all of this the politics of Kamala. The same problems that they're having trying to figure her out, we called a long time ago. But this is not good for ADOS politics. This is not good for black politics. That they're considering adding her to the ticket, so we have to ramp up and do the same thing we did before. You know, it's almost as if, I'm telling you, I have never seen any kind of politics in shambles like this, where we all recognize it. Like, we've called everything out and we've said the way everything should be. And everybody's going in all kinds of different directions. Don't make no sense. There's no way anybody should be doing anything else other than ADOS right now. None. Nothing else makes sense. So let me go on to the next thing really quick, because I know I said I was going to have everybody on too long today. But this is just nonsensical. Because a lot of stuff has happened. We also predicted that, well, remember the last show I said, well, a few shows ago, I said, I see the writing on the wall. With the 1619 project and all this other stuff, they're trying to give us reparations. This is not how it works. This is what I mean with the politics being messed up. This is not how it's supposed to work. We're not supposed to get, I don't need a Stacey Abrams, just like I don't need a 1619 movie with Oprah and Lionsgate. I don't need Stacey Abrams doing whatever she doing. What is this? All in, fight for democracy. Everybody's getting projects, and these projects are made to look like wins. See, what they're going to do, fam, is they're trying to substitute fake wins for real wins. So yes, we're not going to give you anything big. We're not going to give you anything real. We're not going to uproot our institutions. We're not going to uproot our caste system. We're not going to do any of the things that you need systemically to fix your community. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to give you a Stacey Abrams movie. We're going to give you a Lionsgate movie. We're going to give you a we're going to give you a we're going to give you a Ta-Nehisi Coates movie. We're going to give you a whole bunch of stuff that is not going to be what you need as a community. It's not going to repay the plunder. And the people who have been writing about this, instead of saying, no, I don't want this. I already got my grant or whatever. I don't want this. I don't want this thing. I want to do what I need to do. That's the problem with what Nikole Hannah-Jones always says. She always says, well, I'm a journalist, not an activist. This is not the moment for people to be just journalists. Do you think the people who wrote about lynchings, don't call yourself Ida B. Wells? Because Ida B. Wells went to the scene of lynchings and did what she had to do, reported back and put her life on the line. Please do not call yourself that. Change your name, change your act, change all of that if you are not willing to put yourself on the line. I'm not talking about a Twitter fight. I'm talking about the real fight. If you're not willing to call Ta-Nehisi and say, we're going to go and we're going to get ADOS back on board and we're going to figure this thing out together, please do not call yourself the name of a woman who was heroic, one of our most beloved heroes. Please don't do that. We would appreciate it. Everybody getting movies and doing stuff. That's New York Times in shambles, right? That's the people that we've all heard about, famous people in shambles. The CBC in shambles. What did and then didn't the NAACP do something stupid? Let me see if I can find that. They put out some what did they do? They put yes, here it is. We don't even have any orgs no more. Everything's been converted into something else. Look at this. You can't survive when even your own groups don't even stand up with you and for you. What you gonna do with that? Today we remember Emmett Till, who would have been 79 years old. And as we continue to push forward in the effort of creating a safe America for people of color, we honor those who have paved the way. You too scared to say the name of your own people. You too scared to even call yourself by your own name. You too scared to look in the mirror. You too scared to do that? These people got you that shook? You quaking in your boots like that? I would hate to be quite so shook that you can't say who that was, that you can't say who we are. Because you know when you put colored in your acronym, it didn't mean colored, it meant Negro. You know that, right? Okay. The whole thing is in disarray. From the top to the bottom. And we're going to get to the bottom in just 1 second because it's in disarray too. You know, when was it? The Tulsa Real Estate Fund was announced. And so many people said, Yvette, oh, Yvette, you just being negative. He gonna do it. We're gonna give our $250, $500, whatever it is, and we're gonna make some money and we're gonna invest in this brother. Now it's all kind of allegations out there, and he's saying you can't make no money quick, but I'm swagging, rich on a yacht. How? That is so interesting. All these allegations. We told you first he had a bad history. Check it. Antonio did a whole show. Oh my goodness. Like at some point, just say, you know what? If you're measuring by track record, just say these people got a good track record. I'm gonna go with them. So everything that people have been, see, this is what I mean by in shambles. Everything that everybody has been clutching on to is crumbling. Everybody got excited about the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. Everybody got excited about buying one shells Nike with boys. Everybody got excited about Kamala. Everybody was getting excited about a bunch of stuff that ain't never gonna work. Everybody, we got our own orgs. Well, our own orgs don't even work for us. Everything that people thought was something is nothing. These have all been kind of apparitions and ghosts and phantasms. You know how we talk about the phantasm. There's another online phantasm too. None of this stuff that everybody has been grabbing hold to avoid the political work that we've been doing, none of that stuff is going to work. And we're in the midst of a pandemic, and none of it's going to work. Let me tell you, a few days, you know, there were there were some armed brothers and sisters who had their Second Amendment right, and they were protesting the fact that nobody is, you know, jailed or nothing's going on with Breonna Taylor. That's their right, and I was very careful when I criticized the brother Grandmaster Jay. I was very careful in the sense that I don't like your solution about Texas or whatever, and giving us Texas. This is my country, and I want the country. I don't want a state within the country that can barricade us in and do something to us. I was very careful. But I did not call him an agent because I don't work for the FBI or the CIA. So I don't know who is an agent and who is not. I would not call somebody that without evidence. But somebody did. The online political community is in shambles as well because you all have let somebody get away with something that shouldn't be got away with. It's gone too far. It really has gone way too far. So, you know, it's very interesting what people think is going to solve all these problems. Let me just say that. It's very interesting what people think that they can get away with. Now listen, I'm not going to get into it too deep because according to Tariq, he destroyed us anyway. So there's no need for him to ever respond, Tariq Nasheed, because he said we are zombies. Because he will be responding to zombies because he killed ADOS. Remember, that's what he said. So there's no need to talk to me, Tariq, or say nothing to me. I don't want to talk to you ever again, ever in this life. And if you see me cross the street. But let me just say this. It is absolutely wrong. And don't say, well, somebody, one of them let off a gun and injured himself. Well, you should have been there, Tariq. Listen, let me just say something, people. Everybody not holding nobody accountable. If Tariq's whole page is built off of warrior energy, you don't get to sit your big butt home. You get to go out there and do some warrior stuff. I don't know how we get into this space. I don't know why we get into this space where we let people get away with stuff that don't make no sense. Your whole page is about, well, I remember when I said we're 14% of the population, he took that and he said, well, get 14% busy then. But, you know, I see all of these, the warriors versus weakest links. I see all of these kind of things, and that's why I say it's all in shambles. How do you not recognize what is happening? How do you get to call somebody an agent? You ain't got no paperwork. Now that don't mean that he's right or wrong. Listen, there's a way to criticize. He did the same thing with us before the Supreme Court thing. There's a way to criticize somebody without calling them an agent. And you ain't got no paperwork, no way. Don't give me. The man was on his. Somebody sent me a clip of him talking about how when he was in Atlanta, he was telling people where the snipers were. If you don't shut up, you don't know what nobody yet. I was giving everybody intel. See, fam, I was over there and I was like, y'all brothers over there, y'all got to be careful. And y'all got to be, if you're going that way, you got to be careful because that's where they at. I was giving them intel, fam. You know, you can't be but so slow, so long. You can't be but so slow, so long. This man don't have no intel. Stop messing with people who tell you a bunch of stuff they can't prove. People love to talk to us about, y'all just have data. Yeah, you can prove data. You can't prove this man had no intel. Just over there saying stupid stuff and you think it's real. And yeah, family, this is what he said. Y'all don't know how many people that y'all don't understand. How many people that we done gave money to prosecutors and judges. Wait, what? Wait a minute. The lies have gotten too extraordinary. I tried to ignore it, but the lies are too extraordinary. These are some extraordinary lies. Wait a minute. Now you saying you bribing judges and prosecutors? We done gave bags to judges and prosecutors. See, family, that's what you have to do. Sometimes you have to get a charge. You got to drop a little money off. Now, I'm not saying you haven't donated. I haven't checked the files to it, but that ain't the same thing as dropping a bag off to get some money. And listen, don't give me no forgery. I'm not interested in your forgeries. I'm not interested in no fake videos or nothing because I know what it is. I'm not interested. It's a lot of stuff I'm not interested in. It's a whole lot of stuff I'm not interested in. I don't want no Ogun juice. I don't want none of that. I don't want none of that. You can leave all of that out of there. I don't want none of the stuff that you're giving me. Because that's not going to solve any of the problems. Ogun is not a Nigerian god. How do you be FBA and you selling Ogun juice with the Melanoid Nation? Listen, it's not my money. So, by all means, ladies and gentlemen, everybody go and do what they do. This man had the nerve to use Ahmaud Arbery. You remember who Ahmaud Arbery was? You remember how he passed? Them white men and guns and stuff. He said if Ahmaud Arbery had some Ogun juice, he might still be alive. How low will you go to get some money during the pandemic? You already ain't gave the conference money back, and now you out here selling stuff. Now you out here selling pepper spray, overpriced pepper spray and socks. Listen, I sell shirts. He already sells shirts. Everybody does that. I have no issue with that. You are adding on all kinds of cost of stupid stuff. Now, wait a minute. You said we're going to have the warrior energy, though. You didn't say nothing. With all this stuff you put up, you didn't say nothing about, when you say community policing, you didn't say you was going to police with Ogun juice. You said we got to have the warrior energy. What was you talking about, Tariq? Because now you selling Ogun juice. And everybody lets him get away with it. You got to have some kind of accountability. Don't nobody keep... See, I haven't had that... Antonio and I have never had that kind of rhetoric. Our project has always been a political project. And we have gotten mocked. Well, they don't want to get in the streets. They don't want to get that. They don't want to... That's fine. You can mock me all day long. I don't care. Dusty, musty, rusty. Don't get in the street. I don't care. I don't know you. I don't require your validation. I don't care. But I have stood by what our project is. It is a political solution to a political problem. But that ain't what you say. In all your videos, you suggest that you always gonna get it popping. And I'm just here to let everybody know you never gonna get Tariq out of his swimming pool. He ain't gonna never do nothing except walk for 10 minutes or stay in that swimming pool. At what point do you wake up and say this is just lowbrow entertainment? He's never going to try to work on anything. There won't ever be any FBA stuff or chapter. That's not going to happen. At what point does everybody just come to terms with what real life looks like? See, the thing is, we have existed in this sort of fantastic world. And it's a world where nobody gets held accountable, and we also allow, like, I don't understand how the people do it. I really don't understand. I would love to hear, if you were Tariq supporter, call me tonight. I want to know how you give money to a man, and then when you say, hey, why don't you go meet with Grandmaster Jay, the man just gives you his butt to kiss and calls you a crackhead and say you got crackheads in your family. Now, y'all done gave him $120,000 for a conference that's probably not going to happen, because his conference center has been reconverted into a COVID-19 hospital. And you know there's an upswing and a surge. So even if you get there, you can't maintain 6 feet. You're going to have the mask on. Even if you did it, it wouldn't be enjoyable. So at this point, you're just supposed to give people their money back if you care about the people. Now, if you don't care about the people, then you don't care. If you don't care about the people, then when somebody asks you if you're going to get the money back, you make a joke about having relations with that person's mama. When somebody asks you about, why don't you just sit down with Grandmaster Jay and y'all figure it out, you start making jokes about, that's how you let them crackheads back in your family. See, family, we gotta do better. We gotta do better. You can't let them crackheads back in your family. What that got to do with, like, what he said? What that got to do with what was happening? Don't none of that stuff have to do with nothing. Get them people they $120K back. You know, we were supposed to have an ADOS conference, but I'm not going to have you sick. I don't think a leader will want their people to get sick. And so, thought about the virtual conference. I just don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth your money. I don't think it gives you a good enough experience. But certainly, if your conference has been converted into a COVID-19, listen, they about to cut off this $600 and make it into $2 or whatever they're trying to do. But this stuff is finna get cut. Right? How you holding on to the bag? Why don't you just live off the Ogun juice sales? Don't make no sense. It don't make no kind of sense. Everything is in shambles. Community policing and all that stuff. Then when somebody says, yeah, we actually gonna get in the streets. Well, I tell you what's wrong with getting in the streets. Now, this man don't know what he talking about. He talking about, now I criticize the Texas land, but Tariq has a whole video. Tariq has a whole video about saying the same thing. We should get a plot of land and single mothers shouldn't get none. How you gonna criticize somebody for saying the same junk you said? People so crazy. I'm just gonna tell you something. I don't know whether everybody understands it or not, and that's not my business. But you just can't go onto your YouTube and say bussy, and expect that to lead to some kind of change. right? I don't know why you seem to be obsessed with the word, but I don't think you can say that and keep telling people that that's going to lead to some kind of transformational politics. And then before that, you tell them we got to get in the streets. But then when people get in the streets, you stay home. We need that kind of energy. That's what you said at first. I like this energy. That's what you said at first when the man came out, the Grandmaster J-Man. You said that at first, I like this energy, until you figured out you wasn't going to lead. Because you have to lead the same thing that happened with you and ADOS. You had to clone it and make it your own and adopt all of our talking points. You know why? Because you want the money. You got to find, listen, the revolution may not be televised. They may absolutely be true. But there are some people who are determined it is going to be monetized. And every time something comes up, you make an excuse, or you go out there for 10 minutes and walk around. Then you say, I will never do no. Remember when we did that? I will never do no meetings. ADOS, they got chapters and meetings. If you have a meeting, that's where the feds show up. If you have meetings, the feds go there. ADOS setting y'all up to be attacked by the feds. Then when he do the thing, when Grandmaster Jaden do the thing, oh, y'all let them know where y'all was. So you can't let them know where y'all was. You let them know where y'all is. Then the feds gonna come in. They gonna know. So you can't do it that way. Only thing Tariq has ever said in his whole time is that if you listen to what he's saying, the thing that he's saying is this: the only thing you can ever do is give me your money. You can't do chapters, you can't do politics. Well, you can't get in the street and do your Second Amendment rights. You can't do anything but buy my DVDs and buy my Ojun juice and watch my buck breaking bussy movies. That is the road to liberation. The only thing that I'm telling you in this moment, family, is that is not the road to any kind of serious liberation. I think those of you who keep telling me, well, Yvette, I just watch it to laugh. I think you're lying to yourselves. If you bought some Ogun juice, I think you are lying to yourself about what you are doing and what you are supporting. There is no plan. Well, we just got to get the culture popping. Well, we got to get in the streets. But somebody was in the street doing the same thing you said and you ain't show up. What was you at? You was asleep? You sleepy? Then we said do politics. Well, you can't do no politics, you know. You just got to no vote, no, we're not going to have no chat. What are you going to do? Is anybody asking what he going to do? Or you can't ask him what he going to do. He'll cuss you out and just start roasting you. And then when you start roasting him better than he roasting you, he going to turn off the Instagram. You know, at some point, you just have to know that we grown people. And you have to know when to let stuff go. This is in shambles. All this, from all the way from Kamala up top to all the way down to the online community. All the way down to online community. This is in shambles. This is not online politics. What is this? This is not real commentary. Something that just talks you. You can't have something. You got to hold. See, let me tell you what it's like. The language is important. When you use language like war, I've always said that this is not a war. This is a political project. And that's the wrong language. But when you use that kind of language, when somebody gets out and does stuff, you should try to find a way to be there. It's almost like if ADOS, let's say, we have ADOS chapters and they all doing stuff, right? So let's say we have a chapter, or a few chapters that are really that we get like a big reparations move. That's almost like me saying, "No, I'm gonna stay home and eat a sandwich." How? The only way that happens, and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna go to break. The only way that happens is if there's no accountability, and you can't have good politics without being able to say, "Y'all would say it to me." If all ADOS was on the street right now, or a bunch of people who were marching or doing whatever about reparations, y'all say, "Vet, we need you out here." I don't see why you can't say it to other people. You have to be able to say, okay, you keep everything we put your way, you keep saying no. Everything we keep doing, you keep saying no. Oh, this is a little man with some butter biscuits. I meant to tell you. But if every political project this person says no to, at what point do you begin to understand that they're not interested in politics? They're interested in maintaining a lifestyle. And if you are okay with that, that's one thing. But just don't look to that as some kind of political project. It's not. There are no solutions there. there's just the same kind of redundant, like, lowbrow comedy. So I'm sure it's not gonna matter, and I, you don't need to say nothing to me, because you ended us, you finished us. I must have disappeared and evaporated, and that's fine. You don't have to. You don't have to answer me, Tariq. I don't care. I don't care about you. I still, for some reason, care about some of the people who like get invested in you, and they were really upset. I saw a bunch of comments that like somebody was like, he deleted a bunch of them things. So, but if you're upset, you have to let it go. You can't be upset and then come back next week every time. Now you get a chance to give people second and third chances, but at a certain point, you just can't come back, and that's just where we are. And I think everybody has to understand. Like, being insane is like doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Just like you can't go through this thing